Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I wanted to do a video today on my 2011 Dodge Ram Sport. I had an issue when I purchased it. Now I think this only affects the 4th gens with the MDS system. But after I purchased the vehicle and I got it on the road and all that, I did really start to notice that there was a ticking while coasting issue. There is some threads out there, but I just want to kind of go over my story and what I did to fix it. So to start out, I purchased this white 2011 Dodge Ram Sport with 130,000 kilometers on it about 3 years ago. On the initial test drive, I did notice a little bit of ticking, but I thought it was the exhaust manifold gaskets. No known issue. I did it on my last Dodge Ram. But it only seemed to happen when I was coasting to a stop sign or stoplight. I asked the previous owner. He said he had it inspected, but they couldn't really diagnose it. So I said, you know what? It's what I was looking for. I'm going to take a chance on it. So I purchased the truck. I brought it home. Got it safety. Just had to do some brakes on it. Everything else looked good. So right away I got looking into the head or the exhaust head manifold gaskets, and they were both gone. So I had them both replaced, and that didn't actually get rid of my coasting while ticking while coasting noise. I did have a slight tick at startup, so it did get rid of that. But the ticking while coasting was a completely different noise, and it's not the normal Hemi tick. This was almost obnoxious. If you were to drive along a barrier, say on the 401 or under a bridge, and you were coasting, it would really echo and vibrate and reverberate. And it would be pretty embarrassing. Now I've heard other Dodges going down the street with the same issue. I haven't noticed any of the newer, like say plus 13 models, but I think it is an issue for some 09 to 2011 models. So I did some forum reading, and some of the first things that popped up were lifter failure. And I got thinking, I'm like, man, that's a serious engine overhaul. I'm like, I really hope that's not it. So I did take it to the dealer. I showed the best service technician on site the noise. He could definitely hear it, but he was thinking it was transmission related. So I went back to the dealership. He did a scan on it. Nothing showed up. He wrote me up a quote for taking the transmission apart and looking at the torque converter. But I wasn't really sold on that. I took it to another local garage, up-and-coming young guy, but very good, drift cars and all that. I had his guys go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Nothing come up on the scanner, but he made some phone calls, and he was told that the MDS solenoids go on it. So he gave me a quote to replace those. I think with the parts and labor is going to be like almost 600 bucks. Now, I wasn't 100% sold on that either. So after doing more research, I realized that Dodge Chrysler had a recall on 5.7 motors on the 5.7 Charger, 5.7 Challenger, and the 5.7 that goes into the 300. Now, the recall was for timing chain issues. Now, I heard it was really bad on the Challenger, and they were replacing timing chains in the whole front of the motor like hotcakes. So I was kind of torn between a timing chain guide or something to that effect, or a lifter. So after having no luck at the shops getting a proper diagnosis, I thought I'd take it into my own hands. I'm not a pro mechanic, but I can do, like, you know, basic maintenance and that kind of stuff. So I thought to myself, how am I actually going to diagnose this, like narrow it down to either a lifter or the front of the motor? So this is a bit of a tricky one. Don't really recommend it, but it did the job. I actually parked the truck in the driveway. I jacked the back tires off the ground, put them on jack stands. I jacked the front of the truck up too, so all 4 tires were off the ground. I got my wife to sit in the truck, put her into drive, and to ease on the gas about 40 or 50k with the wheels off the ground. Now, so while she was doing that, I lifted the hood. I had an automotive stethoscope, and I actually went around the motor real quick, and I checked the driver's side valve cover, and I was not hearing any ticking noise whatsoever. So a bit of relief, but as I moved to the front of the engine, I went right along the timing chain cover, and as soon as the motor would kick into MDS, as clear as day with that stethoscope, I was getting tick, 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 and yeah, I couldn't believe it. So that pretty much verified it for me that I was, you know, in the front of the motor somewhere. So I have a buddy who's a mechanic in town. He actually owns pretty much the same truck as mine in Orange. Really good guy, good mechanic. So I went and talked to him about it. He's like, really? He's like, I haven't heard of this. He's like, take me for a test drive, man. So I took him around the block, and as soon as it kicked into MDS, he's like, holy shit. He's like, man, that sounds bad. He's like, I've never heard anything like it. One side note, I could disable the noise if I got the Sport with the console shifter. If I took it out of automatic and put it into 5th gear, so keep it in 8-cylinder mode all the time, I would never have the noise. So that was another kind of symptom telling me it was something MDS related. So after I showed the mechanic, he's like, you know what? He's like, that does sound kind of rough, man. He's like, it's up to you. He's like, if you want to repair it. Now, I had just bought the truck. I wanted to make it right. So I did some research, and I decided to go through with the repair. So the things I needed, I figured I would do the whole front end overhaul on the motor. So that included, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head because this is going back a year and a half, 2 years ago now, but I did the cam phaser, time and chain guide, so the tensioner and the guide. Supposedly the parts were reworked, so I think they were a slightly newer version. I don't know what the differences were, but I put a new timing chain in, a new oil pump, and a new water pump, and of course new gaskets, seals, that kind of stuff. So I had my buddy Dan do it. Took a day and a half in the shop to complete the repair. But surprisingly, I got the truck back, and man, I have not heard that ticking noise since. It goes in and out of MDS, no problem. I don't have any issues with it. It sounds good. There's a little bit of a drone when it goes down to 4 cylinders, but I think that's to be expected. That's just the nature of how it works. And it's nice to know that A, my motor's not going to grenade because if something gives, that's not going to be good. And B, that my truck's working the way it was designed. So I just want to do a quick video and give a shout out to everybody that's had this issue. I was on the Dodge Ram forums, and there was I must have did 15-20 hours of straight reading on this just to be sure on what I was doing and make sure I was doing it right. I posted my findings on the Dodge forums, but I thought I'd make a video too. So yeah, that was the big issue I had with this truck. like I said, that's been about 2 years ago, and ever since it's been rock solid. Like I said, I purchased it with 130,000 kilometers. I have 188,000 kilometers on it now, and so far so good. No major issues, just the regular maintenance, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so just in case you're having a ticking while coasting noise, you know, there's one way to check it if you're not getting anywhere with dealerships or repair shops. If you can pinpoint it, you know, those are the parts you'll need to fix it. But I would just recommend, you know, definitely verifying it before you go ahead with the repair. So I have heard that some of these Hemis do have lifter issues, and they can seize up. So if you can verify it, all the power to you. I mean, go ahead and fix her up if you want. You know, if you don't really care that much, you can just keep it in 5th gear all the time. Actually, before I pulled the trigger on the repair, I actually bought a Diablo Sport T1000 tuner, and I permanently turned off MDS, and it worked good. I didn't have to click it to 5th gear, but I don't know. I like to take care of my stuff. I like it to work proper, so, you know, I dug deeper and I figured it out, and I went through with the repair. So I'm happy I did. The labor cost me about $1,600. Like I said, that was a day and a half shop time straight, and it was probably a good $300-400 in parts, give or take. Now, I got all my parts from Rock Auto, really good prices. Now, I'm in Ontario, and even with the shipping and all that, it was still much better prices than going to the dealership. The only part that was on back order I couldn't get was an OEM water pump. When I called a couple dealerships, they said there were 1,200 parts on back order, and it could be months before I could get one. So I had to go with an aftermarket water pump, but I've had no real issues with it. Everything's working good. But yeah, so that's my experience with the 2011 Ram Sport with the Hemi, and a ticking while coasting issue. Yeah, so that's my video. Hopefully this can help somebody out. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, feel free to subscribe and like, and leave a comment below. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.